Hello, my name is Sharon Boucher-Haskins. My YouTube is Island Girl Living in Germany, and this is my third film I'm making for this YouTube. I'm a newcomer, new starter. I think I have something to say. I think everybody who lives lives and do something different with their lives or special can always talk about it. Doesn't mean that everybody have to watch it. It maybe not be for everyone, but some will watch and we can be friends. We can talk about the things that we know. So what I wanted to talk about in my first one, I talk about why I made the move to Germany. And the second one, I talked about how I made the move to Germany. So the third part that I want to talk about before I even get you guys boring is my experience living in Germany. So I arrived here December 24, 2016. By March, I was in school learning German, but this was kind of, I don't know, it wasn't private. You pay some, the government pays some, but it was a huge class, and for a lot of us, including myself, it was hard to learn German in a quick class, so they're just packing everything, boom, 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 and you do it. So um, came home one day, maybe almost finished the class. I came home one day and I got a letter from the government and said if I wanted to join the integration class, which they teach you the same thing you get at the other school, but it's in a slower pace and a broader version. And I was ecstatic. I signed up and I started. And the school last, I think, 2 years and some, and it was very strict. You have to be in school on time. You can't have too much excuses. And the learning was hard, but I think every single one of us was in the class, even when people drop out and go to different class. We learn. Most of us is not fluent. Some of us are. Some people learn the language faster than some. So to say that, because I learned my German, I don't have problems walking around in the street. If somebody asks me a question or ask you where you're from or what are you doing in German. So another thing, a lot of people here speak English. I think the older ones doesn't want to learn English, but they know some little words. So I'll explain to them in my German and I tell them, and if it's not so good, they will correct me or they will say next time, you use this word because it's easier. They, to me, they're very friendly. And so I met people here as really good friends. So the first building that I lived in, the woman who cleans the building, she was so nice. And at the end of the year for Christmas or Thanksgiving or stuff, if I cook, and most of the time I do, I invited her for Thanksgiving dinner. And there was an old man lived downstairs in my building, Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller was 96. So, yep, and I invited him for dinner. One day I was so glad I did it because he got sick during the corona. He didn't have corona. He had a hip problem and he went to do a surgery, and then something with his medication, he didn't take it, and he got his thing got worse, and he went back to the hospital and he never came home. And that was hard, but you know, there's some things in life that have to happen, and that is one of them. So sometimes we can be sad and we can be, but we have to celebrate people's life. People, there's no one that comes on earth to live forever. So that is that part of it. So people always write me and say, so how do you get along? You're a black person in Germany. One thing that some people don't understand, Germans are used to black people. They have their colonies in Africa. They always have migrant workers. Um, the Turkish came here as migrant workers, and most people said Turkish are not black people, but to me they're just different black people. But anyways, and a lot of black people come to Germany, some as refugees, some come as college students. Um, Look at the music. I mean, Germans love any music that's not theirs. They play a lot of foreign music. Reggae is one of them, soca, Spanish music. They love that stuff. So I don't have a problem. For me, because I was always this straightforward person, I'm not gonna go out on the street looking like I'm looking stupid. I always go out well dressed, do my thing. And most people, okay, they stare at you, but when they stare at you, they're trying to figure out. Because if I see somebody stare at me for a long time, I would go over and I said, hello, can I help you? And she's, no, she says, oh, she said, oh, you're Sharon. And I said, thank you. Because you don't know what people thinking, and I go to my butcher shop, they know me, my grocery shop, they know me, even the department stores, when I go to buy fabric, I have conversation with people just out of the blue, and for me it works. But the most important thing is that my husband and myself, we get along so well. We don't fight about anything, because when we met, I told him, if I have to fight with you about silly stuff, it's not gonna work. So I just hope we not gonna be this fighting couple, because I said, whenever I'm dating somebody and they start arguing, I just disappear. And he's good. He's been the same person he have been since the day I met him. And he doesn't ask for much. He wants to do more for me than I would do for him. But since we are married and he takes good care of me, I takes good care of him, and we try to communicate a lot. We do a lot of communicating, a lot of talking. We set out most of our evenings for sitting down, having dinner, discuss stuff. If there's a show we want to watch, if he has to go to bed early for work, he goes. I stay in my office and do something. But life is good. I can tell anybody, my whole life, I was married to somebody, and after a couple of months I start asking myself, like, what the hell did I do? Because if I said, you want to drink some water? No. Why you want to give me water? If I said, oh, when you go out, could you pick up a bottle of water? Why should I do that? Didn't you go to the market on Saturday? And it was just this little stupid stuff. And then I meet people after that. Some was polite and good, but it never get to the point where I say this is it. You know, people asked me to marry them before I met my husband, and my whole thing was that I am never gonna get married again. I was so set whole and not getting married again. You couldn't, if you had nailed me in a tree, I wouldn't even think about it. But the funniest thing happened to me. You know, my I had a real good friend one time, and she had a boyfriend named Joseph. And she would tell me about this Joseph, how good he is. And she said, every Joseph is good. And I'm like, oh. And she would tell me all these things that he do, not expensive or nothing, but just all these little things. And I told her, I said to her, and this was years ago, I said to her, look, I'm going to make my mission to find me a Joseph. And I dated, I met this guy, and we were sitting down one day talking at a bar. We was having a drink. And I said, by the way, what is your name? And he says, Joseph. And I said, Joseph, for real? He said, yes. And then I said, so you're a good Joseph? He said, from what I tell, even my mother said I'm a good Joseph. So anyway, I decided, all right, I'm going to test it out. So we went out for about 5 years. And I tell you, he was a good Joseph. The only reason why it didn't work, he wanted to retire and move to Arkansas. And I said to him, so if you go to Arkansas, what the hell I'm gonna do with all my shoes? You know? And he says, oh, when you go down there, you don't have to wear a lot of shoes. You could just walk around without shoes. I said, what? And he says, yeah, you don't need all these shoes. You just sell them. And I just made up my mind, okay, this is not going to work for me. I helped him pack, do all the things he had to do, and send him off to Arkansas. And then I start over again. And it was about 5 to 6 years after he left, I met my Joseph I have now. And to wrap this up, I'm gonna tell you a little story about that. So when my husband came to Chicago to meet me, he stayed at the hotel not too far from where I live. And the first night he came, we went out to dinner with some friends. And then the next day, I went over to visit him, and we were having a conversation and stuff. And I said to him, I said, boy, you're such a nice guy. I get a good feeling from you. And we are just having so much fun. And even my friends like you. I said, my friends always look at people I go out with side eyes because they kind of know what I like. Then I said to him, and you would believe you say something like this to somebody. I said to him, you know, everything is good. You're a super guy. You're very interesting. The number one thing, you're a nerd. I love nerds. I said to him, but one thing is missing. Your name is not Joseph. he said to me, huh, you didn't tell me I have to name Joseph. I said, it's just a thing I have about this Joseph thing. And he said to me, I'm going to look right in the camera and tell you. He said to me, wait a minute, I have to go to the drawer. And he went to the drawer and he pulled out this little case that he has, his passport, driver's license, everything in there. And then he came back, he opened it, he opened the passport, and he said, dear. And I'm like, what are you showing me the passport for? He says, read it. Read what's in my passport. I wasn't interested, but then I opened it and read it. You know what it says? Thomas Joseph Haskins. I laughed that day because I couldn't believe it was real. I just keep saying, no, 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 no. Are you sure? I said, maybe I told you this before and you're right, it's a fake passport. He says, no, that's my name. And from that day, I didn't even think anything else. And so my point also with this is that people always said, I can't go to how you gonna marry to some man all the way in Germany and just pick up yourself and leave. I said, I've been traveling my whole life. I lived in Belgium. I play with the idea of living in Great Britain for a little bit. I went and visited, but I didn't like it. I travel all over to big cities. I went to China. I didn't go to Japan. I went to Great Britain, Paris, Canada, Puerto Rico, Cuba when I was young. I was in the Netherlands for a little bit. So I know European people. I know one thing for me, as long as I'm not loud and obnoxious, I think you can get along with anyone, because I have a soft heart, and sometimes I don't know if people see it until you get to know me. I have a very soft heart, so I get along with people. My 83-year-old neighbor that lived downstairs, now I invite her for lunch, for dinner. She was sick during Corona. I made her dinner for 5 weeks. Every Sunday I make her a full course dinner. My husband take it down, and she get better. The first day she got better, she went out and buy me flowers. When she feel better, I invited her for breakfast, and she came. Now we don't get flowers anymore. She buy us a dozen eggs every week. So because I think when you care about people and people see you care about them, they're not frightened of you, or they doesn't care if you're black, they don't care if you're pink, or they don't care if you're blue. People are people. And I think German people are very smart. They're super intelligent. They travel all over the world. They maybe know that some of these people, they go to Africa, they volunteer. Their kids go and they volunteer. They go to India, they volunteer. So I don't think it's anything strange. But my point is, if you sit down and you're worrying about, I can't find somebody, you know how much millions people over the world want the same thing you want. And with the power of the internet, you can always find love. I never knew in my entire life that I would be in Chicago and find somebody from Germany. But it's happened. And when I'm here, most of the women that I meet are men. And they would say to me, so tell me how you came. And I start telling them, they start laughing. They have the same story too. And if you're good at what you do at a job or something, you come to Germany, you can get a job. And if you go anywhere in the European Union, you can get a job as long as you're good at what you do. You know, you have to be on time. You can't go to work late. And you can tell stories because they're not interested. They're just interested that you get to work and get to work on time. They call it punktly. So, my friends, if there's any question you want to ask me about anything, I know I'm just rambling, but I'm just talking from my heart. So if there's anything you want to know, just write me an email, send me a message. Don't forget to like or subscribe or just send me a message. I just started out, this is going to be my third video. But I know that I have to do better. But I have so much stuff going on lately that I promised myself I'll do one video a week. And that I can do. And I always tell you at the end that I am very, very into food, healthy food, but I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan. I just make food, cut out all the unnecessary stuff. So if you're interested to see some of my recipes up, I can put them up. I'm gonna put up some in my blog. So please like, subscribe, and then we'll be a big family. Okay? Cheers. Thank you. Bye.